It is your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today, and we're zooming in and focusing in on a little bit more of the signs and red flags that it has to really come to understand or get a sense or an intuition or really kind of a better sense of understanding or learning that you are in a relationship with maybe somebody who does not have your best interests in mind, someone who might be a cluster B personality, someone who is narcissistic, someone who is malignant narcissistic, someone who is sociopathic or psychopathic, essentially someone who has a real inflated sense of self-importance, especially when it comes against them in the world. They feel like they are more important really than anyone, anything, any cause. And this really sets them into a whole nother stratosphere, which oftentimes is illusory. It has a lot not to do with reality or their real accomplishments. You know, the people who might brag, the people who might boast, the people who might proclaim the holier than thou sort of facade or scenario. But number one is that there's a facade, there's a persona, there's a false heart that they wear, and it's not a true, genuine feeling. That there's really, the issue really is that there is a facade that they're putting to the world, and then there's something lurking underneath the surface, which is not what you see. What you see is not what you get with these individuals, and it's very difficult to sense the red flags or signs. I do get a lot of comments and questions in to try to really ascertain or understand what are some of the red flags, what are some of the signs, what can I kind of sense, you know, besides, you know, some of the, you know, the obvious is that this person might be, you know, infatuating or good looking or arrogant or conceited, and the kind of people who you go, you know, that person is just too fake for me, they're too phony, they don't care about me, I can just tell. You kind of get a feeling that there's something missing. Maybe this person, you know, is manipulative, they're just sort of cold, you know, they're too controlling. You might, you know, be getting a feeling of that, especially if you're kind of getting more mature and you're understanding people a little bit better. But what can you really sort of understand as a sign and a symptom? And I would really begin to address the fact that when you are with this person, you feel like really there's no basis, there's no bottom line, there's no foundation. In other words, there is a lack of commonality, congruency, or common heart-to-heart understanding between the two of you. In other words, what we call like a foundation, or really a sort of sense of certainty that you have with this person, a certain understanding or certainty that they get you, they have empathy. It's something that's not only said, it's something that is felt. And actions speak louder than words, and body language also speaks louder than words. So you might feel that they sort of betray you in different settings. In other words, they might treat you very differently in a number of different settings. In other words, at the work, who is not who you see outside of work. Who you see outside of work is not who you see inside at work. There can be very, very different. In fact, almost like a chameleon, where they, you know, address one people one way, another people another way, another people another way, and you don't feel that there's any foundation to the personality. In other words, you don't get their core. And oftentimes because you don't get their core, because they don't put their core out into the world. Oftentimes in the state of the narcissist, what you see is a facade, it's a persona, it's a mask, it's a fabricated or engineered personality who you see. In other words, it's like the person who is always putting on a show for showman's sake, as if they were, you know, just there to be a pretend performer or something of that nature. So there's not really a sense of, you know, a genuine emoting or a genuine sense of their personality or their views, you know, kind of inside and outside being correlated, or what we call congruent, or harmonious. There's a state of dissonance, a state of tension. It's in music, like there's two opposing notes which are played, which kind of clash each other or cancel each other's out. So when you are with this person, you oftentimes feel that even though you might really take pleasure in this person, but you feel as if there might be something missing. There is something awry. There's not really a foundation. The two of you don't have the two pieces puzzle grooving together, or if it's in a family or a number of people, you kind of feel like the pieces are not fitting and you don't know why. Because when there is, healthy relationships where there is mutual support and understanding, you get each other. There's not a lot of these entendres, hidden meanings, esoteric referrals, whispering, triangulating, splitting behind your back. Things are out in the open, let you clear the air. And oftentimes you don't have an air to clear because the air is just clear. You don't have to do a lot of explaining, justifying, or trying to understand who this person is or who this person isn't. You're not trying to struggle and analyze, all these situations, and you're not trying to explain and justify, overanalyze yourself and why you needed them to do that, why you need them to do this. Especially when you get into a relationship between two adults, you can be babying this child, and oftentimes, this adult child, and what it's often feeling is if there is this child, in the adult who never really grows up, who's not responsible, who doesn't stop their tantrums, who doesn't stop their crying, who doesn't stop their fault finding and complaining, and it just continues to go on, and they can be chronic fault finders. So you oftentimes feel like you don't have a baseline, a foundation to the relationship. You kind of feel like, what can happen now? What's about to explode? What am I going to hear now? What earful am I going to get? What am I going to get in my text? What am I going to get in my email? There's always some surprises. There's always this uncertainty which tends to plague the relationship. And this uncertainty keeps a very unsteady balance and not a solid foundation. And in the relationship, you have to have a sense of trust, security, serenity, peace. And if you don't have that trust, if you don't have that, then you really don't have anything. It's always going to feel like it's under jeopardy. It's always going to be taken from you, or that there's always something that's going to be yanked out. So these are the foundations of getting along in a relationship and being able to progress. If they keep you in a constant state of uncertainty, guessing, hypervigilance, paranoia, and oftentimes it's because they're not giving you information or hiding things from you, concealing, living by duplicity, saying one thing and doing another, then, you can understand, if you have that feeling that there is no foundation, that self-trust that you have within is not connecting without, then, that person is, there maybe not be the right person for you, or there might be a lifelong struggle that you're going to continue to have with this person just because of their personality, temperament, the DNA, their personal construct, and your identity is your beliefs, it's your values, it's who you feel yourself to be and what you'll stand up for. It's really what you believe in. If you were to call about what you believe in or what you feel strongly about, you should be able to articulate it. Oftentimes you don't really get that sort of transparent relationship with a narcissist, a malignant narcissist, or a psychopath. You start seeing, ruffling up the layers of the onion, and there's something underneath which is not really kind of a heart-centered. It's more of a mind-centered and, fabricated or engineered sort of personality who you are coping with, and not really sharing a heart-centered relationship. And really that's where more of the energy is in the heart. If you're constantly having to over-evaluate and judge and demystify the relationship, the foundation needs to either be repaired, it needs to be looked at, or you need to get that feeling of trust within you and listen to what that trust deep inside you is telling you to do. It is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today. And I hope that these videos, that they do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.